This podcast is powered by The Plug, The Connect with Graffiti. I'm in the presence of a legend right now, y'all. The most winningest boys basketball coach in Colorado history. I said that right? Winningest. Congrats on your 10th championship ring. I got Rudy Carey sitting here right here with me. Coach, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, and thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So for the people under a rock who do not know who you are, just a quick synopsis of who Coach Carey is.
I'm the head boys basketball coach at East High School, have been for 32 years, and I was at Manual High School head basketball coach for 14 years.
14 years, 32. So total, how long you been coaching?
46.
46 years. Mm-hmm. What got you into coaching?
I got cut by the Denver Nuggets. I wasn't good enough to play in the NBA, so I thought I'd stay in basketball by coaching.
Yeah, you got cut by the Denver Nuggets.
Got cut. Larry Brown cut me.
What year was that?
1975. I was in camp with David Thompson.
Wow. So basketball, that's pretty much been your life, right?
Basketball's been good to me.
Yeah. When did you first find that passion for the sport of basketball?
Well, when I was growing up, a guy named Bruce Stevens, track guy, used to take me to the practices at East High School. And I'd watch practice over there, and I just fell in love with the game over there. Yeah,
you fell in love with it. When was that moment when you decided, I'm gonna make this thing my career, my life. I'm gonna try to go pro with this?
Well, I didn't think about playing pro till after high school.
Okay.
But I played basketball in elementary school and junior high, and then I played in high school. And after high school, I went to college up at Colorado State University, and I played against some of the top guards in the country.
Yeah.
And I held my own against them, so I thought I was good enough to play pro ball. But looking back, I may have been just a notch off.
Just a notch off? I mean, but, hey, it worked out for you, would you say?
It did.
Yeah.
I stayed in it, and I got into coaching. Never thought I would achieve the goals that I have achieved, but I did stay in. And longevity had a lot to do with where my records are now, and I had good coaches, good players, and good community support.
Cool. So forming those fundamentals and just learning all that, then moving into coaching high school basketball. Let's talk about that journey a little bit. When you first started at Manual,
I started at George Washington actually as an assistant, and we won. I was JV coach over there. We won 34 games, lost 1 in 2 years, and so I kind of got a feel for it. And then in '79, I went to Manual as the head coach, and we won a lot of games early on. And then we got better and better, and kids started gravitating toward myself and my program.
Right.
And as the good kids came, and great players make great coaches.
Absolutely.
So I got great players, and we got better and better.
Absolutely. What was the atmosphere and the energy like in Denver around that time, in that era when you were coaching at Manual High School?
Tough area, tough times, a lot of gangs. The inception of the gangs were coming in from Los Angeles, and it's a lot of tough kids, a lot of gang people, and it was either basketball or football and track, or the gangs. Those are the two alternatives.
And you provided an alternative. I want to talk more about that a little bit, though. Just growing up, I'm from Montbello, so growing up in certain neighborhoods and certain energies, you can, like you said, you can go one way or the other. And sports was an outlet for a lot of us, but just as a man, it has to be a heavy load to kind of carry that. Your father as well. I just want to talk about that, kind of how you navigate these kids, man, just how you keep them on the right track.
Well, it was natural for me because I was a teacher.
Okay.
And, I could relate. I was from that area. I grew up on Fillmore Street here in Denver between East and Manual. So it was kind of a natural fit for me because I could relate to the kids at that time. I started at 26 years old and wasn't that far removed from high school kids.
Okay. So let's talk about that. Just the young life, a young Rudy Carey. What was that life like for you?
I was learning as I went. I was learning on the run. It was kind of a love of mine and a passion of mine, but I wasn't very astute at X's and O's. And I had to learn that as I went on, and I went to camps, and I watched Regis basketball for a lot of years. Lonnie Porter was the coach over there. He was more or less my mentor.
Yeah.
And I studied his game. I studied his practices. I studied a lot of the drills that he did, a lot of the X and O's that he did, and I learned as I went on. I stole stuff from a little bit of everybody.
Yeah. How would you say? How do I want to word it? How would you classify yourself as a young Rudy Carey? Good kid? Were you kind of out here, or how? Looking back now, what was your youth like? How would you summarize your?
I grew up in a tough neighborhood. A lot of kids. A lot of our kids in our neighborhood went to the penitentiary. A lot of them were killed. It was just a tough neighborhood. You had to fight all the time. Just so many kids in the neighborhood. You had to box to survive.
Yeah.
And it wasn't personal, no guns, no knives, no big brothers.
Right.
You fought, you won or you lost, and then you were friends again after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of shift gears, but stay on topic at the same time. In light of recent events that have been going on around and at East High School, kind of just want some of your thoughts on that. Tragic events, and it seems to be, nothing has changed much as far as violence and youth violence, but there's a wave of violence going on right now in the city that needs some attention. I just love to get your thoughts on what's going on.
So many guns out there available.
Yeah.
East High School, first and foremost, is a great high school. Always has been, always will be. There have been a couple hiccups over there, and it's going to happen in any place, any school. Could happen any place, any school.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of been dark over there for a while since a young man died.
Yeah.
It kind of affected the student body. People have been kind of tentative about coming to East and where they go at East. And then we had a young man who did the shot two administrators. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a lot of mental health issues in this world, a lot of mental health issues with youth, and more so with black people who do not look at therapy as a positive.
Absolutely.
We try to deal with our own problems, and we look at therapy as something negative, but therapy can be a positive for us.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And I think, I often say that our coaches deserve a lot more flowers than they receive, because you guys play a big part in keeping these kids off the street. You often serve as a third parent or the main parent sometimes, also a therapist. But just us in the community, how can we help assist the coaches and the staff and just outside of the school? What's more that we can do to help these kids in the community?
Well, we can value them more. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of kids that go unrecognized, and we don't value the things that do. We don't meet them at their value system. Mm. A lot of kids are into different things, not just sports. Yeah. We need to recognize the help that they need. Because there are signs and there are symptoms that we need to recognize if a kid is not on center.
Yeah.
And we ignore that because we think we're strong enough to get over that stuff and get by it, and we're not. Right. Not all the time. And as parents and as adults, we need to pay more attention to our kids. Go in their rooms, talk to them, go out with them, go places with them. Just try to probe their mind to see where they are. And you can see some signs and symptoms of people getting off center.
Yeah, absolutely. Amongst the negatives, some great positives been going on. You just got your 10th championship ring. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that team and just the journey and what it's been like this season coaching that team.
We overachieved. We started the year off with 2 losses, 2 tough losses, and we had to find our identity. And more so, I asked my coaches to step it up. We had to become better coaches in order for them to be better players. So we searched, we sat down, we talked, and we found out what our strengths were and what our weaknesses were. And once we found out what our strengths were, we got momentum going, and we didn't look back.
Yeah. Definitely didn't look back. Okay, so let me ask you this. I want to hear. I know you got stories. I know they're in there somewhere. I want to hear your favorite moment of your basketball career so far.
And
to date,
46 years.
I say so far because I don't think you're done yet.
No, I'm definitely not done yet. If they'll have me back, I'll come back. But we had a young man who played for me at Manual, 6'10" kid, white kid, and we were ranked number 1 in the state, 1987, and we were undefeated. He goes to a party, gets into a fight, hits his head on the concrete, goes into a coma for 6 weeks.
Wow.
And we didn't know if he was going to live or die, but we would visit him in the hospital periodically. So we went up there one night, a friend of mine went up to visit him, and we were just in the room talking, and he heard our voices, and he came out of the coma. And he came back to play, never got back to the level he was at, but he did come back to play. That was one of the highlights of my career.
Wow. So the voices and that energy.
It woke him up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Shout out to that kid, man. All right. So usually I ask this question, but I'm going to rephrase it a little bit. Usually I ask, what would you go back and tell your younger self? I'll get to that, though. But right now, there's a kid out there watching this, listening. There's a kid in the street playing basketball, just picked up that basketball, trying to find his way out of the streets. What's the main piece of advice you would give that kid?
Well, to keep working at your craft, and if you're serious about basketball, you have to have a love for basketball, first of all. The passion for it and the level of play nowadays is that people that are playing basketball are very passionate about it, and they put the work in. You have to put the work in. So basketball is a game that you get out of what you put into it.
Right. Now, on the flip of that, what would you go back and tell a young Rudy Carey? What's that one piece of advice you would give yourself as a youngster?
To be more patient. Back when I was playing, I wanted to win immediately.
Yeah.
And it's a process. It's a growth process. And over the course of the season, you can get better and you can grow. But I needed to be more patient early on. You know, I wasn't patient. I was impatient, and I wanted to win right away. And we won some games, but we didn't win championships right away.
Right. Be more
I
patient.
had to learn that.
Be more patient. I like that. So like I said, I'm gonna speak it even if it's not true or not. You're gonna keep coaching. You're gonna continue. You got some more years in you. But what's next for you? Just as a man, what's next for Rudy Carey?
Well, you know what? I'm trying to impact these young people in a positive way. You know, we've been a bright light for a community that has lived in darkness. And we vowed that we would never allow our light to be put out. So I want to go on and make sure we secure that and stay strong in that area and then pass it on to somebody who else can continue that legacy.
Absolutely. I love that. Coach, I appreciate you. The city appreciates you. Our culture appreciates you. And thank you for your time.
The pleasure was mine.
All right.
Cool.
Cool.